I came across this shadow box idea from one of my favorite YouTube channels, but today I want to do a different version of the smartphone shadow box. Also, if I can figure it out, I want to see if it will power up in the shadow box. To see how I do this, stay tuned. Today's video is part of my landfill rescue series where I save discarded phones from going to a landfill. I'll rebuild them if needed and get them to a condition where they can be useful to someone. The Samsung Galaxy S7 I'll be working on today is my first phone I've ever attempted to rebuild from non-working to like new condition, and because of this will be a special rescue. Because this is a special event for me, I'm going to rebuild this phone into a sentimental piece of memorabilia that I can hang from my wall and always remember how I got started rescuing phones. I think there are enough well-made videos on YouTube that detail the teardown of a Galaxy S7, so I'm not going to detail that in this video. Here's a time-lapse of my version of a teardown of the S7. Make note of the heat gun replacement I'm using, along with my justification for never using the orange suction cup again for removing the glass. I had fun trying to figure out how to go about this teardown using the tools I had on hand, and I think it went okay. Lucky for me, the glass on both sides of the phone were already broken. With the parts I have left after the teardown, along with the replacement parts I ordered, that will complete the rebuild of the S7 into a fully functional, like new phone. I can now take all of these pieces to design a personal piece of my history. I have a basic idea of how I want the big parts laid out. If you're going to attempt this project, keep in mind the most important feature you need in the phone you choose are flex cables long enough to allow moving the motherboard from the frame of the phone out to any of the sides. For the Galaxy S7, because the cables run downwards from the upper portion of the phone, then downwards is the only direction I can move the motherboard. With that, the motherboard will then be laid out to sit below the frame of the phone. For the rest of the big parts, I'll lay them out in some kind of pattern that would look appealing within a frame with something like 2 or 3 inch borders on all sides. I have all the larger pieces connected together and now need to connect the small parts you see laid out just above the S7 frame. I wish I could use the small pieces as an accent to the layout, but if I can get them working, I'd rather connect them. The dilemma though is doing so would almost hide them. What you see here is what I decided will be the final layout of all the parts. I'll measure the new layout and probably design and build a simple floating frame to hold everything. One Samsung design where I feel I was lucky, but I'm not sure if all phones are designed like this, is here where the screen connects to the motherboard. Because the screen connection is at the edge, it'll be easy to display the screen in the shadow box as a separate part. One setback I had was trying to power on the device. It starts to power on, but then starts looping between the start of powering on, then off again. I thought it might be because it needed to be in the frame for grounding maybe, but still the exact same symptom. My guess is the motherboard might be damaged. I will try to fix it later, but in the meantime, I'll finish up the frame in such a way that it allows me to swap out the motherboard in the future. So this is my floating frame, which I kept as simple as possible. A single sheet of plexiglass with some accessories added to provide display options, whether it hangs from a wall or sits on a table. I did rearrange the phone parts to spread them out a little, and so each individual part stands out on its own. And some good news, I finally got the phone to boot. The sad thing is, I have no idea why it wouldn't boot up. A jerry-rig everything episode I came across gave me a clue that the wireless charging coil not being connected could be the problem. In the midst of testing that theory, without even connecting the coil, the phone booted up and somehow the problem was solved. This project had turned into somewhat of a challenge for me. Part of it was trying to get the phone working, but the other part was creating memorabilia that reflects my personality in many ways. Leave your questions and comments in the comment section below. That's all I have for now, and I'll catch you in the next video.